sacrifices, play this game. I done prayed that my life would never be the same. I done prayed that I will make it bring glory to my name.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy Uncle Strib, and we are going to break down the last day of the first round of the play-in tournament. So yesterday, the Hornets and Hawks played, and the Spurs and Pelicans played. So just kind of recapping what we saw, the Hawks won. Hawks beat the Hornets 132 to 103. Pretty dominant performance. I thought it was going to be a closer game than it was. It was actually kind of close, I believe, up till the first half, and then third quarter, the Hawks just took over. So top performance from both teams. For the Hornets, LaMelo Ball had 26 points, 5 rebounds, 8 assists, but he only shot at 28% from the field. Terry Rozier had 21 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 36.4% from the field. For the Hawks, Trae Young had 24 points, 3 rebounds, and 11 assists, shot at 33.3, so a third, 33.33% from the field. And DeAndre Hunter came off the bench and gave us 22 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, shot 56.3%. And Clint Capella, 15 points, 17 rebounds, 3 assists, 66.7% from the field. So breaking down the game, for the Hornets, they shot as a team 38% from the field, and they had 14 turnovers. And so the key to their loss is the top scorer started off slow, as you heard that LaMelo Ball shot 28% and Rozier 36.4% from the field, which, it's rough. They started off rough. He started to get going a little bit towards the end, but it was too late by then. The lead got too big. And so when the lead gets too big, to cut away at the lead, you got to start hitting threes to really come back to make up some chunk points. But when you start throwing up threes, if you're not hitting them, then the league just continues to grow. And then frustration fouls started to play. Miles Bridges got ejected because of a goaltending call, and he ended up getting ejected, and just a lot of frustration fouls happen. And that all just happens whenever the league gets too big and you start throwing up threes, can't hit them, and it starts to set in that the game's pretty much over. So for the Hawks, as a team, they shot 53% from the field. They shot 50% from the three, which is fantastic. They had 54 rebounds, 13 more than the Hornets, 31 assists, 9 more than the Hornets, 54 points in the paint, 14 more points than the Hornets, 19 second chance points, which is 12 more than the Hornets, and 22 points off of turnovers, which is 14 more points than the Hornets. And so the key to the win for the Hawks is that they dominated the boards, which led to more second chance points, and they capitalized off of the 14 turnovers that the Hornets had. And that's pretty much breaking down that game. Now, moving to the Spurs and Pelicans game, the Pelicans won 113 to 103. This was obviously a better game. It was a closer, tighter game for the majority of the game. The Pelicans did get up a pretty decent lead, and the Spurs started to chip away at it. So top performers from both teams, Devin Vassell, I believe I'm saying that right, had 23 for the Spurs, had 23 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists. He shot 46.7% from the field, and he shot 53.8% from three. DeJounte Murray had 16 points, 9 rebounds, and 5 assists, but he only shot 26.3% from the field, which we'll get into that a little later. Now, the Pelicans, this was a fantastic performance from the Pelicans. CJ McCollum had 32 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 52.2% from the field, 60% from the three. Brandon Ingram had 27 points, 5 rebounds, 5 assists, shot 57.9% from the field. And Jonas, I believe, Valanciunas had 22 points, 14 rebounds, 4 assists, shot 64.3%. So breaking down where it went wrong for the Spurs, they shot 41% from the field as a team, which isn't terrible, but 41% is still it's not great. It's not good. It's not terrible, but it's not good. And they shot 38% from the 3-point line, which is actually pretty good. They had 13 fast break points to the Pelicans 6 and 19 points off of turnovers to the Pelicans 9. So statistically, number-wise, we're just looking at the numbers. you would think Spurs, they held in there, which they did. There were points in the game, especially early in the first quarter, where it seemed like the Pelicans were just straight up dominating. Brandon Ingram's getting to the basket whatever he wants. He's dunking on people, catching bodies. CJ McCollum's downhill aggressive. He's getting what he wants. Valanciunas is getting boards and putbacks. It seemed like they were being super dominant, but if you look at the score, the Spurs were only down 2 points. They're only down 4 points. So the Spurs did play well, but the keys to their loss is the foul trouble. So Murray had 3 fouls early in the first half of the game. He had, I believe he picked up his third early in the second quarter. So he had 3 fouls, and he had to sit the majority of the second quarter because of the foul trouble. And as a team, they shot 41%, which didn't help, and they got out-rebounded. Looking at the Pelicans, they shot 54% from the field. They shot 40% from 3. They had 53 rebounds, which is 19 more rebounds than the Spurs, which is one of the reasons, which was one of the key to the losses for the Spurs. They got out-rebounded, and the Pelicans had 7 blocks. The key to the wins for the Pelicans was their 3-point shooting. Now, which was 40% from the 3, which is great. 3-point shooting, they dominated the boards, and also, which this part of the game, there's no like stat for it where you can just look on a stat sheet and tell. But with watching the game, they had a lot of great one-on-one defensive wins and matchups. So I wanted to mention Herbert Jones and Jose Alvarado. Those 2 guys had played great defense, one-on-one defense. Jose ended up getting a steal once. Herbert Jones had a couple blocks and like very crucial, pivotal times in the game. So they were really good defensively on the perimeter. So those defensive wins, one-on-one matchups is really, really helped. But there's no stat. It's just something you saw that led to either a forced shot would have missed, a lot of pressure. And they also played well team defense, which contributed to the Spurs to their 41% from the field goal. And that's breaking down what we saw from the Spurs game, Spurs versus Pelicans, Hornets versus Hawks. So what does that lead to? That leads us to the next round, which is going to be on Friday, April 15th, or tomorrow. And the Pelicans are set to play the Clippers, and the Hawks are set to play the Cavs. So now we're going to break down these upcoming games and some keys to success that I think are going to be crucial for each team to win. So the Clippers are a 4-point favorite over the Pelicans. And some things that I think the Clippers need to do in order to have keys to get the dub is Reggie Jackson needs to get started early. Last game in the loss they had, Reggie Jackson kind of started off rough. I believe he was 0 for 7 at one point and finally got a bucket. But Reggie Jackson has to get started early. We've seen what he can do when Paul George and Kawhi were out. We've seen that he can be a guy that can average 20, 22, 23 points a game. And so Reggie Jackson, I think he needs to get started early. Paul George has to keep being Paul George. Last game, he played fantastic. He has to keep playing aggressive, get in the paint and finish, because we know he can finish, or kick out. He's surrounded with guys that can score the ball. Norman Powell and Morris have the ability to score, and you have Kennard, who's a fantastic 3-point shooter. He's shooting 44.9, basically 45% from the 3 on the season. So Paul George is surrounded with guys that can score. So it's going to be really important for him to gash the defense, get to the basket, get a couple finishes here and there. And now when he drives to the basket and they collapse on the paint, you're going to have Powell, Morris, or Kennard either on the perimeter or short corner, somewhere around there, and going to have open looks to make shots. I think Terrence Mann has to also get involved and push the pace. We also saw Terrence Mann step up early in the season. I don't think he's a candidate for most improved, but he's definitely a guy that has improved a lot from last year. He needs to get involved and push the pace. We've seen that he can really push the ball up. He can really push the ball in transition. And he's the type of guy that he's going to make some open looks. He can actually create a shot for himself. I'm not saying he needs to take all the shots, but I'm saying just get him involved in distributing the ball. And when he gets the open looks, he's going to make those shots. And last but not least, I think Zubac has to keep Valanciunas off the boards. Valanciunas just got a 20-point double-double, 22 points and 14 rebounds, if I remember correctly. And if you want to win this game, you can't have Valanciunas scoring 20 plus points and getting 14 rebounds. If he does that, I believe the Pelicans are going to take home that dub, because you can't get beat off the boards. So Zubac has to keep Valanciunas off the boards. Now, keys to success for the Pelicans. CJ and Ingram just got to keep the momentum going. The way they've been playing all year, minus Ingram's injuries, CJ's been playing well all year. He's averaging 24 points since he got to the Pelicans. He's been averaging 24 points a game. We all know Ingram is becoming one of a great scorer in the NBA. He's also, I believe, third in the NBA in mid-range scoring. So guys can score. So I think if CJ and Ingram just keep the momentum going they had with last game, keep going, getting to the basket, keep attacking, keep doing what they've been doing, that's going to help, because those are your number two guys. Valanciunas, now I said Zubac has to keep Valanciunas off the boards. Well, for the Pelicans, Valanciunas has to keep dominating the boards. And he's got to keep dominating the boards, keep finishing off the pick and rolls, and protect the rim. Again, 22 points, 14 rebounds. He's got to keep setting great screens and then rolling to the paint. And we all know CJ or Ingram can toss him the lob, finish, and he's got to protect the rim on defense, because he's a big body and he's got to alter shots, or at least make them difficult for the Clippers to finish, because we all know Paul George, he's gonna get in the paint. So Valanciunas needs to alter those shots, or at least make them more difficult. Also for the Pelicans, keep winning on one-to-one defensive possessions with Jose and Herbert Jones. They protect the perimeter. They got to be perimeter, force the drive to the big men of Valanciunas and the other big men in the paint, force low percentage contested shots, especially with Paul George. We're talking about, this is pretty much playoff peak, 30 plus points last game. They're going to have to force him to take contested shots. You're not going to win all of them, not going to win all the possessions, or not going to win all of the one-on-one matchups, but at least make the Clippers work for every single basket. Even if they make them work for every basket. If you do that, I believe that they'll miss enough to have the Pelicans in a position to win the game. Moving on to the Hawks versus Cavs. The Hawks are actually the 2.5 is a 2.5 point favorite, or 3-point favorite, however you want to look at it. Hawks are the favorite to win, even though they're the lower seed. So Hawks' key to success, Trey has to start off hot, or at least efficient. Last game, the reason why it was close early is because Trey kind of started off hot. He didn't shoot very well, same with LaMelo. But I think if Trey starts off hot, or at least starts off efficient, maybe not taking as many shots, but he's at least hitting the shots he's making, starts off efficient, that'll help put them in a position to win. And I think what's really going to be crucial for them to win is that Trae Young and Clint Capella pick and roll game. Because Trae Young has this way about his floater game where you don't know if it's a floater or a shot. His floater as a shot looks the exact same as a lob to Capella. So it kind of throws defenses off. I think that is going to be crucial for them to win the game, because we all know Clint Capella can finish a lob. He can finish at the rim. He's a great big man. So that pick and roll game with Trae Young, Clint Capella is going to be crucial. I also believe DeAndre Hunter, defensive presence and scoring ability off the bench is going to be crucial. It adds depth to their roster. I know he's been battling, he's been going through injuries, but last game, the game literally got turned around. It was a close game, and then when DeAndre Hunter came in, had all these defensive stops, and also was scoring the ball in the paint, mid-range, and I believe he hit some pretty big threes. That off the bench is going to be crucial. So his defensive presence and the ability to score off the bench are going to be important for the Hawks to get the win. Next, Bogdanovich and Kevin Huerter. I'm going to just say Kevin because I'm butchering his last name. But Bogdanovich and Kevin, open three looks. We all know, if you watch basketball and you've seen the Hawks play, if Bogdanovich and Kevin are open, it's almost a guaranteed three. It's almost a guaranteed hit on the three. The Hawks need to find a way to get them open looks from the three-point line. Trae Young, we get to the basket, defense is going to collapse in the paint, dish out to Bogdanovich, dish out to Kevin. Or if it's a cross-court pass, that's something to get them open three looks. They're going to hit them. That's going to get them in a position to win. And last but not least, certainly not least, this might be the most important one, is team defense. The Hawks defense has not been that, being honest, not been that good this season. If they need to focus on playing team defense for one game to get them into the playoffs. Team defense for one game, slow down the Cavs, because we all know they can score with the best of them. Shootout wise, they're some of the best to do it. Trae Young's third, I believe, third or fourth in the NBA in scoring at 28 point something, 28 points, over 28 points a game. So shootout, they can hang with the best, but they're gonna have to play team defense. Cavs, Darius Garland has to stay in attack mode. He's been doing it all season, but him in attack mode, him downhill, him making moves is going to be the keys to success for the Cavs. I think another important key is going to be Kevin Love off the bench. Kevin Love's going to have to distribute the ball, facilitate, almost kind of like a point forward. That off the bench is going to be crucial. And the Cavs, they're a great defensive team. They're 7th in the NBA, but their offense is 20th. So offensively, they're kind of middle of the pack. But so they have to create open looks or high percentage shots or high percentage looks for them to be able to keep up with the scoring ability of the Hawks. So like I did, they're not going to be able to win. They're not going to be able to win shootouts. They won't win a shootout. So they're going to have to lean into their defense, lean into their 7th ranked defense, slow down Trae Young, maybe get Trae Young. If they can get, I believe if the Cavs can get Trae Young to shoot what did he shoot? The 33% from the field. They can get him shooting 33% or 30% from the field, somewhere around there. I believe Cavs can get this win with him, with Trae shooting at a low percentage. Because Cavs even though their offense is ranked 20th, with Darius Garland and Kevin Love and some of the younger guys, their names escape me at the moment, because they had 3 All-Stars. They could still score, but they have to really lean into the defense, because I don't think they'll win an outright shootout with the Hawks. Now, my last comments, I'm just going to give my personal takes on the game. So I think the Clippers Pelicans, I'll take the Clippers over the Pelicans. There's a lot of reasons why, but I'm just going to pretty much just leave it at that. And I'm going to go against the Vegas betting odds. And I'm going to take the Cavs over the Hawks, simply because the Cavs have a top 10 defense. And in the playoffs or play in, however you want to look at these, postseason comes, it's really the defense that wins you or gets you to that next level and gets you to the next series. So I'm going to go Cavs there. And I believe that the intensity is just going to be a different level, because it's do or die. It's an elimination game. So I think the Cavs defense comes out even hotter, even more aggressive, more pressure. And that's going to lead the Hawks. I think as a team, they're going to shoot around I'll say 40. This is going to be a bold prediction, but I'll say Hawks as a team shoot under 50%. So maybe 45%. And that's going to lead to the Cavs win. That's just my gut feeling. Again, playoffs, play in. I have no idea what's going to happen. And this is all on Friday. So after Friday, the seeding will be official and playoffs will officially be starting. So stay tuned for the recap after day 1 of round 2 of the play-in tournament. And it'll also kind of be a segue as like a pre-playoff cast. But you guys heard it here first. Stay tuned. Appreciate you guys for listening.